Thank you for enlightening us, sir.
Thank you.
Moving on, our next expert speaker is Nalini Kumar. Nalini Kumar is the owner of Verto Marketing Solutions, a food distribution company. She heads marketing and specializes in new product launches for top brands in the HORECA segment. She received the Best Supplier Award from multiple five-star hotels. She was selected for Goldman Sachs 10,000 Women Entrepreneurs through COWE, as well as for Goldman Sachs Women Entrepreneurs Ambassador Program at ISB. I now welcome Ms. Nalini Kumar to elucidate the business model of procurement in hospitality industry.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, Nalini, you are audible.
Do I share my slide right now?
Yeah, please.
I'm not able to start the video.
Naman, have you given screen share to Nalini ma'am?
Yes, ma'am.
Nalini, the screen share is with you. Please start.
Yes. Camera is not launched properly. I'm not able to start the video.
Ma'am, are you not able to start the video or the screen share?
Video.
Yes, Nalini, it's
Okay, so I'll just is my
yes.
Can you see the screen?
Your screen share is starting, Nalini. I think it should be on.
Can you see the screen? Okay. Okay, so good afternoon, everybody. I'm sure after hearing Mr. Narayan, the Josh is high. I would like to start with a thought that every woman natural honor. To elaborate, we do all the activities of running a business in our day-to-day lives. For example, we get an idea. It's an idea generation, planning, execution, marketing, and sale. Idea generation is, let's say today we get an idea of let's make palak paneer. So we have to plan for the ingredients. We plan, we go, we buy palak, we buy paneer, all the other required ingredients for it. Then we execute, we make the paneer, that's the execution. Then when the family in the evening, we actually market our palak paneer by saying that this is one of the best recipes I've picked from so and so website, and this is, we actually market and create the interest within a family to eat the palak paneer. And after the marketing is done, the point of sale is when the family members eat and relish it. So running a business to us comes naturally. So now if I say selling to the hotel industry, next slide, please. Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Next slide. Can I go to the next slide by myself?
Yeah, easy.
Okay. So Indian hospitality industry was a 20 billion industry in 2019 as per the HPMF. It's a non-profit organization of Hospitality Purchasing Managers Forum. The hospitality industry has witnessed a spurt. We all know that more and more international and national players have come in the last 2 decades, and the procurement accounts for more than 30% of its expenses. There are many types of business products and services that support the 3 aspects of the hotel industry: structure, brands, owners, and operators. Just to give an example, the fact that on an average, the hotel redecorates its hotel interiors and rooms every 7 years. So just the interior designing and furnishing supplier industry for the hotel is huge. Similarly, the food and beverage procurement of the hotel industry is also enormous. So I have categorized the hospitality industry in star hotels, restaurant, fine dinings, small joints, and caterers, And hospitality industry is like tourism, travel, but right now we are looking at only the hotels, so I will actually stick to the hotels. So if you have to supply to a hotel, you could be a distributor who purchases from a manufacturer and supplies it to the hotel, or a manufacturer who directly supplies to the hotels, or the service provider. So as a distributor, you can supply foods, toilet, etc. Similarly, a manufacturer will supply ready-to-eat ice creams, bakery equipments, and there is no limit to it. Service provider could be gardening, housekeeping, security, flower and decoration, laundry, IT, and so on. So if I say a distributor is the one who procures products from a manufacturer and supplies it to the customer. They generally have good relation with the hotels, and they usually deal with more than one product. They could be distributor for 5 or 6 companies. Then they also are like, generally it's not a hard and fast rule, but generally distributors supply the reputed brands, like Dabur will have a distributor, Milky Mist will have a distributor. The big brands will usually supply through a distributor. And the hotelier will also find it easy to procure from a distributor, as they can buy more products because every hotel would want to limit their number of vendors for the purpose of documentation. So they will prefer is supplying 6 or 7 or 10 brands and different products. A hotel will actually prefer to go with the distributor so that the number of vendors come down for them. Then when we say manufacturer is the one who goes through the production cycle and also sells it directly to the hotels. Advantages is it is more profitable because you're eliminating the middleman. So whatever profit you give a percentage to the hotel and you can get more profits. Then other thing is you can also access, have a direct access to the customer feedback. Every manufacturer needs this feedback to improvise a product or add a product. So if by supplying directly, you have a direct feedback of the end customer. Then the other thing is, suppose you are supplying to hotels rather than all the retail and general stores, you have few customers to deal with. So that's the advantage that a manufacturer would be getting by supplying to the hotels. Again, if we look at the disadvantages, along with all the manufacturing, you will also look into the distributing and servicing. And hotels definitely need very good servicing. So if you have to keep a hotel, your service level has to be really high. Then other thing is, you have to make higher marketing efforts. Suppose you are a producer and you hand over your products to the distributor. The distributor will make the marketing efforts. But in this case, the manufacturer will have to look into the manufacturing as well as marketing efforts. That actually makes it a lower reach to prospective buyers, because one person, it becomes very difficult for one company to taking care of all the procurement, manufacturing, then selling, marketing. So what happens at the reach to they'll ask for a credit of 15 days to 3 months. So a manufacturer with all the manufacturing costs will also have to keep some capital to give credit. So these are the disadvantages of the manufacturing, but one can choose both if you can overcome the disadvantage. It's not an issue. Other thing is service industry. Capital investment would be comparatively lower, but it again depends on the kind of service. And rest all is same as the manufacturer. So I just made a small comparison between supplying to star hotels, restaurants, fine dinings, small joints, caterers. So when we supply to a star hotel, the volumes are usually very high because the hotels are big, the requirements are big, so volumes are high. But then it becomes low margin because usually when you supply to hotels, it is biannual contract. And when it's an annual contract, they will float a tender sometime in the month of January for the entire financial year, that is from 1st April to 31st of March. So the rates are negotiated, and the contract for the entire year is given to the lowest bidder offering the best service and quality. Other thing is credit sales. Almost all the hotels, like I said, expect a credit of 15 days to 2 months. But the good thing is the risk of losing money is the lowest here, because we know that all the hotels follow a set procedure and the money may be delayed, but usually you will get back. So you don't lose your money. It could be delayed, but you don't lose your money. So the risk from my point of view is much lesser in a 5-star in a star hotel. But other thing is you need more capital to supply to a star hotel. It again boils down to the credit that you have to give. You have to give a credit of 15 days to 3 months, which means by the time you supply for 2 months or 3 months, you'll get the money for the first supply of the 1 month. So you will have to keep a capital of 3 months before you get your first payment. So the capital required is much higher. Another thing, if I look at the seasonal impact, yes, there is a seasonal impact. There is more sales during wedding seasons, but it's not too bad. There's a small impact on season. We'll go towards the refined as the star hotels. The margin again is little higher than the star hotels. The same hotels ask for credit of 15 days, or it could be cash purchase. But from my experience, I have tried to give as much less possible credit to a restaurant or a fine dining compared to a star hotel, because the risk is much higher. What happens, lot of times we see that the hotel restaurant closes down, and we will not even know that the restaurant has closed down, or the sale deed has happened. But by the time we actually go to get our money, we see that there's no one there, or then you have to trace people. So the risk here is much lesser. So I would actually, if you want to start a business supplying to restaurants or fine dining, I would actually suggest you to be very, very careful. Then again, the capital requirement is much lesser because volumes are lesser, and you also do a cash sales. And then there's absolutely no seasonal impact because people go to a restaurant and a fine dining throughout the year. So there's not much impact. Then comes the small joints. The volumes are very low. Instead of supplying to one 5-star hotel, the same volume you might have to supply to 25 small joints. So the volumes are low, but the margins are much higher. You have a better negotiating power to supply to the small joints. And most of the small joints are through cash sales. So there is practically no risk. And the capital requirement is again less because your money is rotating faster. If you're doing a cash sale, your money is actually rotating faster. And there is no seasonal impact. People go to small joints here at all seasons. Again, if you want to supply to a caterer, the margins could be higher. Yes, it could be cash or credit sales depending on the size of the caterer. The risk is moderate, and then less capital is required. But it is very, very seasonal. The seasonal impact is very high. So my suggestion would be that we should not stick to a star hotel or a restaurant, fine dining, small joints. There should be a combination of all, wherein our money and volumes are there in the star hotels. The restaurant and fine dinings also give us a good volume, and also the star hotels and restaurants will also make our business seen in the market. But small joints are also important for the rotation of cash. So we should have a combination of every kind of hotel. So here I just wanted to, distinguish between a distributor, manufacturer, and a service provider. A distributor has, when it comes to supplies, has to look for suppliers as well as manufacturers. So if you want to become a distributor, you first look for a supplier or a manufacturer, but you also have to ensure that the product quality is very good. And another very, very important part is you have to have a very, very strong supply chain. So let's say, how do you look for a supplier? We go to the search engine. Suppose I think that I want to start a dairy product. I will look at the Go cheese, the type of products, Go cheese, a product from Go cheese. I'll see the type of products, the different kinds of products. Then I'll try to contact the supplier. So that is one thing through the search engine. Other thing, there are many exhibitions like AHAR, hospitality events, where there would be B2B meetings, bakery and machine exhibitions, etc., etc. So especially since I have been into food, my experience or what I would say would be more about food. So there is an exhibition called AHAR in New Delhi, where everyone from all the manufacturers all across the world come in, and you can see a wide range of new products or the existing products in the market. There you can have meetings with the manufacturer and you can decide which product would be suitable for your market, and you can look for a manufacturer in that case. Other thing is, when I say that, quality product, the quality of the product is very important, because even though the hotels are price sensitive, the quality is a very important criteria. So they will not accept any product which is low in quality. And a strong supply chain. So I can give you my example. A supply chain really matters when you are a distributor, because the products are not in your control, but your supplier should ensure that you get products on time, because you are the face of the manufacturer. If you don't supply on time, your credibility is gone for a toss. So you have to ensure, because you have to develop relations and make sure that you sell more and more products to your existing customers. So as a distributor, we tried many products. If I say that I tried 10 to 15 products, I was able to successfully launch only five products. And mainly it is because of the supply chain. If there is a problem at the back end supply, it will be very difficult to have a good existing business and also relationship. So you have to ensure that you have a strong supply chain. Next is manufacturers. It is, for a manufacturer, you don't have to look back. It's a one direction, that is, you have to sell to a hotel or a restaurant. For that, you have to do the various activities like meeting the purchase manager. Usually, as a food product, I would generally approach the person who actually makes a decision. That is the executive chefs. So most of the time, my first meeting would be with the executive chef, wherein I will introduce the products and then follow up with the purchase manager for the product actually being into the hotel. And it's the same with the service providers. They need to meet the decision makers in the hotel and go about it. So the advantages of selling to the hotels. We have a choice. We either sell it to the hotel, or we sell it to the retail chains, or we sell it to the general trade. But the advantage of selling to the hotels is the number of end clients are less compared to the individual retail customers. So if you have to introduce a new product, you have to spend a lot of money in advertising, getting the people know. If you want to sell it to an individual, you have to actually first advertise it. It's not easy to build a brand, then go to an individual, make the individual, realize that it's a good product when there are already existing products. So here the number of end customers are less as compared to the retail customers. And also that you can get bulk sales. Like if I have a 10 rupee product, I have to sell to 10 people. Here you can sell all 10 things in one place. So the hunt for sales is much easier compared to a retail product. And then you also don't have to spend much money. Suppose you decide that I'll sell only to the hotels. You don't have to spend much money in packaging or making the product look attractive. You can have a good packaging, a good neat packaging, and you also don't have to spend on advertising. So it becomes much easier when you decide to sell only to the hotels. Other thing is you don't have to have a number of SKUs. You can just have a bulk packaging, which will also save your packaging cost. Then comes the visibility. So every supplier, regardless of the product, knows that the only way the business will grow is to get more visibility by their clients. And in this case, it's the hotels. But how exactly do you get the product seen in the market that is already heavily saturated with your competitors? So let's say trade shows. To stay competitive, hotel and hoteliers must know what's new and what's hot. And the trade fairs are one of the best ways to see a wide range of options all under one roof. So the supplier should follow organizations who run trade shows and get in touch to reserve a stall at the fair. Read industry news outlets to find out about upcoming events and joins trade associations to connect with other professionals in the field. The other thing is direct sales. Contacting the hotels directly is a good way of letting your customers know about your product or service. You should try to meet the decision maker. This can be done through cold calling, networking, etc. So in my case, direct sales have always worked for me. And the cold calling, direct sales through cold calling has really helped me. If I tell you when I started the company, I had absolutely no idea about what a hotel is or what sales, like if there is a credit sale, I had no idea about that. But I had absolutely no contacts when I started this. But cold calling has always helped me. I took a product, went about it, met the decision makers. Mostly it were the executive chefs of the hotels. And I pursued. You have to pursue. You can't let go. You can't just introduce your product and expect the hotels to call you. You have to keep calling and find what is the status, has the product been approved, has the hygiene been approved. There are a lot of parameters that needs approval. So this direct sales is very important because you get to know your customer face to face. Then you can also list your company on an online directory. This is one of the best ways of selling your product to a client. Online database and directories benefit from search options and filters so that the client can find exactly what the product and service they are looking for. So this is in the case when a client is looking for a product, you register yourself in an online search engine and the client will get to know about your product. Other good thing that a manufacturer can do is distributors. Aligning your companies with a reputed distributor can take a lot of work out of selling to hotels. Distributors are generally experienced in marketing and sales and already have a vast network of hotels they supply to. So having your product sold to a distributor is a very good option to gain visibility to your product. So the requisites, I have just put down few requisites. There could be more depending on the product and the product to product. So generally, if you should have a GST registration, and in case of food product, you should have a FSSAI license. A shops and establishment registration is also required. Then most of the products will need vehicles for transportation. So again, it is product specific, but mostly you should have a vehicle for transportation and a godown or office space for storage and the day-to-day activities. And if you have a frozen food distribution or a product, you need to have refrigerators. So let me talk about pricing model. There are various pricing model that we can choose or we can negotiate while we are supplying to the hotels. One is the flat rate pricing, that is annual. So if I say that I have a product that paneer, let's say paneer that is used every day, that is procured every day by the hotel. So I can say that, I sell Amul paneer for 250 rupees for the entire year. Then now if the Amul increases the rate or decreases the rate to the hotel is fixed. So entire year, whether you get profits or losses, you have to supply at flat rate. Similarly, for a manufacturer, there are various costs like electricity might increase, petrol, diesel might increase, so transportation will increase. So the cost of manufacturing will increase. But if you have decided that you are going to give a flat rate, it is a flat rate. The hotel will not agree for any changes during the year. The other is the commission-based pricing. This is mainly for the agent. In this case, you can let the hotel know that this is the cost that I get. This is, suppose I get a product, I purchase a product for 100 rupees. I take a commission of 10% and I will give you at 110%, 110 rupees. So your customers know the price that you are getting at, and they buy it at a percentage, a margin that you and the hotel have mutually agreed. So this can change whenever your price change. This commission-based pricing, the price to the hotel will change. The other is discount on MRP pricing. So let me go back to the Amul paneer. Now I negotiate with the hotel that I will give you discount on MRP, which is if the MRP is 100 rupees, I give you a discount of 20 rupees. I give you a discount of 20%. So you get it based on that discount. So if the Amul decides to change its MRP from 100 to 150, your price to the hotel will be based on this discount. So this discount on MRP is fixed. No matter how many times Amul changes its prices, either reduces or increases, the discount is always fixed. Other is seasonal pricing. This is more for vegetables and fruits where it depends upon season. So if it's a seasonal vegetable, you can sell it for less, and if it is not in the seasonal, the prices will increase. So this is for the seasonal pricing. So I have given a difference between the procurement process of global national chain and local chain. Just in between, I wanted to know, am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Yes, you are.
Okay, so the procurement process, let's say it's a global or a national chain, like we just heard Taj is a national chain. So usually the procurement process is through an annual tender, and the purchase could be either central purchase or the local purchase. Like we used to supply to all the 5 hotels in Taj in Hyderabad. We supply to all the 5 hotels. So during the tender, I get one tender for all the hotels, which means I have to supply to all the hotels throughout the year. So this is annual tender with the local purchase. Sometimes it is central purchase. Like there are certain fine dining restaurants which have a presence all over the country. So they are very particular that if they are using goat cheese, every outlet in the country will use only goat cheese. So those products they usually test and go about it. So this is a central purchase. They will look for a goat cheese distributor in every place and ensure that every outlet is getting goat cheese. So this is a central purchase. Other thing is a global or a national chain is very, very process oriented. Their delivery conditions are defined. this is defined even while they're floating the tender form. That the conditions, if it is a frozen product, it should be -0. If it's a chilled product, it has to be, the temperature has to be within 4 degrees. So these conditions are defined. And the quality checks at the delivery point are very, very stringent. So we have to make sure that, we follow the conditions and we abide by it. On the other hand, the local chains, mostly it's not a tender. You meet a purchase manager, you get your product approved, and you are good to go. It is generally local purchase wherein you meet and you sell locally. They're not very particular on process, because it's all the delivery conditions and everything is verbal, and you are expected to deliver things at a certain way. So it's not a very process oriented thing. So I just gave a brief of few businesses for a rough idea. Let's say business plan for distribution in dairy. The expected turnover, suppose we are expecting a turnover of 1.5 crores per year. Capital investment would be approximately about 2 lakhs for buying the refrigerators and buying the vehicles. The working capital would be 10 lakhs because we need to service the EMIs as well as give credit to the hotels. And you can expect a profitability between 10% to 25% depending on the product. So this is a rough plan of a dairy industry. Then for the service industry, I have given a small plan of a laundry unit. Let's say we want to have a capacity of 500 pieces per day. The plant and machinery would be rupees 12 lakhs. Working capital would be 3 lakhs. And rate of return is service industry. Rate of return is 47%. So this is a rough plan for a laundry unit. Then this is for a manufacturing, a business plan for mineral water bottling plant. The capacity would be 40 lakh bottles per annum. Land and building would be 30 lakhs. Plant and machinery would be 25 lakhs. Working capital would be 18 lakhs. And the rate of return would be 31%. So I just wanted you all to get a rough idea. So if you're interested in a service or manufacturing or a distribution, you can just get, so that it gives you a start to your thought process. And last but most important thing is a tip for being a successful supplier. The service levels have to be top level, have to be top. We have a lot of competitors. To be in the competition, there has to be a USP. Like, for example, our company was known for its service. Our commitment levels should be really high. I'll just give you an example. Sometimes there is a problem. Suppose we are unable to supply the product for any reason, maybe there is a vehicle breakdown or anything. I always ensured that even at 7 o'clock in the morning, I would call the purchase manager or the purchase assistant and tell them that today this is a problem. We will not be able to supply. And I know that there would be a lot of phone calls up and down because the product is very important for the
Nalini can't hear you.
Nalini ma'am, you're on mute.
Nalini? Nalini, can you hear us?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm able to. Am I audible now?
Yeah, you are, Nalini. Thank you.
Okay. So have I not been audible for a long time?
About 20 seconds.
Okay, just 20 seconds. Okay, so okay. So I'll just brush this slide once more. So to become a successful supplier, you need to have top service levels and high commitment levels. If you say that a product is going to be delivered on a particular time or a particular day, you have to ensure that it has to be delivered. And for some reason, if you're not able to, you have to let them know beforehand so that the hotel can make arrangements and alternative arrangements before it is a problem for them. Other thing is uniqueness in the product or service. Your product has to have a USP, something different from the existing product, a service, product, service, or price, so that the hotels move from their existing suppliers to your product. Again, very important that consistent product quality. You might spend a lot of time and effort marketing your product, making sure that your product is being purchased. But if the quality is not consistent, even if you get an annual tender, your supplies will be stopped because quality is very important. The hotel will never compromise with quality. And an important thing that you have to have proper follow-up on payments. Because if you're supplying every day, there could be a possibility that some invoice is missing, and there could be, so you have to ensure that which invoice is missing. You have to make sure, you have to check with the purchase team, check with the accounts team, and ensure that you get all your payments and no invoice is missing and your payment is not made. So I would like to conclude by saying that business for me is not just about recognition and making money. Meeting people, being able to promote new brands, and increasing their sales have given me immense satisfaction. Also, the perks from my business was getting selected for both the Goldman Sachs 10,000 Women Entrepreneur programs at Indian School of Business. I wish you all good luck. Thank you.
Thank you, Nalini. 1 minute. I would like to everybody know that this Goldman Sachs 10,000 women, it was an initiative where COWE was also part of it, and many of our women entrepreneurs have participated according to their capabilities and of course with their criteria of selection. So COWE also has a very big role in play for selecting the women for this program. Thank you.
Thank you, Madhuji. Over to you, Sonali.
Do we have any questions? Okay.
Nalini?
Yes.
Yes, can you hear me? Just a question to understand that you have already shared your journey and then how you got into this business. But were there any specific challenges which on an afterthought, hindthought, you feel that if you already knew about it before you started the business, it would have been easier? Like, would you like to give some insight into that to the aspiring women entrepreneurs?
If as of now, if I look back, I don't think that there was anything like that, because I actually first jumped and then learned to swim. So
so that's what. So when you jumped and you learned to swim, so when you were learning to swim, there were some things which you thought, if I would have been advised by someone beforehand only, or if I knew about this beforehand, it would have been easier that way. That's my question, actually.
Yes, I was not prepared for all the credits that the hotels would ask for. So financial, yes, it was always tough that you expect the payments to come by May and then the payments actually end up in August. So you have to handle those are financial challenges were always there. And then the supply part was also a very big challenge, that every hotel wants supply at a particular time and you can't run to every hotel. So, managing that supply part was also a challenge. But yes, you just learn to go about it, But all I say that you always have to be true. You should never say something and do something else. You have to tell the hoteliers that this is the time I will try my best to get, and you should try at least a half an hour here and there, but you should try your best to keep your words. And that is where the hotel will, keep you compared to others.
And you think dealing with 5-star hotels was better, or even the smaller hotels is like, they are all right to work with your experience?
Smaller hotels also very good, because end of the day 5-star hotels, you have a lot of your capital gets stuck. So if you have to have rotation of cash, you should have a combination of 5-star hotels, a restaurant or a fine dining, and definitely even the small hotels where you can get your cash sales. That is where your money will churn, or else it will be too much of capital that you have to keep at the beginning.
Thank you, Nalini.
Nalini, there's one more question. Somebody's asked, in what scenario or product category would hotels prefer a commission-based pricing model?
In what scenario? It depends. See, usually we would not want our customers to know our pricing. So if you ask me, commission-based is not for most of us, but sometimes what happens that, for some technical products, the customer, the hotel will directly get in touch with the manufacturer, and the manufacturer gives a pricing. That is when the manufacturer will say that here we have a distributor here, these are our pricing, and this is for the distributor, and this will be your pricing. So that is a scenario when the commission-based pricing work.
Okay. Then there is another question which they've asked. One second. Where do you find these yearly hotel contracts? How do you find out about them?
You can find out about these in the newspapers, but I would also suggest sometimes there are chances of missing out, so you should also call the purchase department of the hotels. Sometimes start calling sometime around January and keep asking them, when are they going to get their contract, tender forms out. So if you have to follow up with the purchase department also.
So that's
okay. Those are the questions on the chat box.
Okay, great. So thank you, Ms. Nalini, for drawing such an interesting analogy on how entrepreneurship comes naturally to women, and for the excellent presentation, of course. So next on Bankers Speaks, we have Mr. Meena Ketan Das, ex-general manager and currently advisor to Bank of